My name is Kieran Foley, and I'm the president of Tech Coast Venture Network here in Orange County, and you're watching Eye on Business.
Welcome to Orange County, California. My name is Kevin McDonald, and we are here at Rancho Santa Margarita Park. And I'm here talking with Stewart Roberts, and Stewart is with the TechCoastAngels here in Orange County, which is a group of investors that help entrepreneurs get started in business. Stewart, the economy has been quite interesting for a lot of people today, and I'm a true believer in entrepreneurial spirit. TechCoastAngels seems to me like a good place for people to start. And can you tell me a little bit about what TechCoastAngels does for its clients, I guess what they would be called?
Well, it is, Kevin, and this is an exciting time to be part of the organization and be involved. We are a group of accredited investors the group was founded around 98. Since 98, we've invested approximately a little bit over $100 billion of our own money across 150 companies in the Southern California area. And many of these companies have gone on to receive subsequent funding from VCs, and that number is about $1 billion, $1.2 billion.
So for the viewers that don't understand what accredited investor is, why don't you explain that for me real quick?
Okay. Accredited investor is simply, it's defined by the SEC. It's simply an investor who has a certain amount of assets, $1 million net worth, in addition to the house, or they have a combined joint income with the spouse in excess of $300,000.
Okay, so TechCoastAngels, it's Orange County based?
TechCoastAngels is actually Southern California based.
Mm-hmm.
We're comprised of 5 different chapters, and the Orange County is one of those chapters.
Okay, so now I understand investing, so I want to make sure that some of the other folks do. When someone starts a new business, what can they expect if they were to approach TechCoastAngels? I mean, how is it that someone gets qualified to become a part of your organization?
Great question. Typically, people come to us after they've done their friends and family round. So they've gone to their friends and family for money, they've invested some of their own money. Typically, that number's north of 50,000, somewhere between 50,000 and even $500,000, and as high as $1 million. And then they come to us for subsequent rounds of funding, leading up to a VC.
Now, VC is a
venture capitalist.
Okay, and the venture capitalists are the people that really step in at the point where it's a viable business, the real larger dollar amounts start coming into the category. Isn't that correct?
That's correct. Typically, we see a lot of deals, although this is changing, but traditionally we've seen a lot of deals that were pre-revenue, needed to make more traction before raising money through venture capitalists. Although this is changing, the model is evolving in some way.
Now, pre-revenue means before there's any income being made from the idea or whatever it might be that this venture is working on, correct?
Yes, traditionally, yes, that's correct.
Okay. So I want to take someone through process. They come up with an idea. They then go convince everybody that they know and trust that it's a great idea, you're going to put your hard-earned money in. But then they usually wear out that welcome in most cases, or the friends and family just don't have enough to continue to support it. They come to you, what's the process that they have to go through?
Well, the process is very simple. It starts at our website. They go to the website, they fill out an application, and we're in the process of revamping the website, making it easier for entrepreneurs to apply. There's no fee involved. If there's an interest on our part, we'll bring them in for what's called a preliminary screening, where they sit down with a couple of angel investors, just in a very informal way, and do Q&A. If they pass that round, the next step is to present in front of a room full of 30 to 50 members. Mm-hmm. There's a 10 to 15 minute pitch followed by Q&A and then feedback.
So that feedback generally would, I guess, resound around the ideas that they like, the things of concern, maybe even some advice on what they might need to fix and then come back. Is this, you know?
Precisely. We will let entrepreneurs know at that screening whether or not we're going to move forward.
Okay.
And that's dictated by the amount of interest in the room.
Now, how do the members actually show interest? Do they go to the individual? Do they raise their hand and go, I'm in? I mean, how does that actually work?
Another good question. We, after we do the Q&A, we'll ask the entrepreneur to leave the room. We do our own Q&A among members, and then we'll take a vote as to determine the level of interest.
So I'm an inventor, and I come up with, I think, the next greatest widget that's going to make $1 billion, and I believe my business is worth whatever amount of money. One of the concerns that you hear very commonly, and this is true both verbally and on internet message boards, is what is the valuation and how do I know if I'm getting a fair deal from the people that are trying to, because I mean the investor of course wants to get as much as they can for as little as they have to pay. Right. The owner wants to keep as much as they can for as little as they have to take. So how is that game played, I guess would be the way to put it. What can they expect in that process?
Complicated a question. I'll try to simplify my answer, and you can ask more if you need more answers. In short, it's a process. Typically, I would argue that the best way to determine whether or not the valuation makes sense for both parties is to go to other investors and see what they tell you. What are they willing to invest in and at what level? But typically, it starts with a conversation to determine whether or not we're on the same page. Mm-hmm. If an investor comes to us at a relatively early stage and is telling us that their company is worth $10 million, and we're thinking more in the neighborhood of 2 to 3, there's a disconnect there. Right. And we'll be very upfront about that and encourage them to go out to the marketplace and try to find other investors. And some have come back to us and gotten better valuations and gone on about their way, and others have come back and said, we're willing to reconsider.
So that investor comes in, and I know that people, after they put their whole life into something, are concerned about that whole mystical idea that somebody is going to steal their idea or take control of their company, and this myth about 51% control being the big number. Well, it's partially a myth because it's true that 51% stock control means control, but many of them believe that investors are just out to take control, remove them from the situation, and they end up with nothing. How can you help to dispel some of that?
Traditionally, our organization has been one of invest and keep a distance. Most of our members, and this is again traditionally, have not taken an active role with the companies. This is changing, and we think it's a very positive thing. But to answer your question directly, we're looking for a minor position. We feel very firmly about backing the jockey, if you will. We're looking for the right idea with the right people. And if you don't have that, the reality of the idea that we would come in and take over just is a fear I think I can put to rest. That doesn't happen. We don't have the time or even the interest. We want to take a minority stake in a company that has a CEO ideally in place that can execute. And that's very important for us, and that's a criteria that we look for.
So that's very much Warren Buffett's model, which is, why would I buy a company and then say I'm going to change what you've been doing right, otherwise I wouldn't buy the company. So I just know that I hear a lot of people that are very concerned about this, and it actually stops entrepreneurs from moving forward because I call it the paranoia of being frozen. You just end up doing nothing rather than taking a chance and moving forward with an opportunity. What are the hot trends right now? Why don't you tell me a little bit about some of the deals that TechCoastAngels is doing right now?
Okay, before I do that, let me maybe answer the second part of your question.
Please.
I apologize. Which is in terms of the entrepreneur sharing their deal and feeling comfortable with that. We look at so many deals, Kevin. I would say on the average of a couple thousand deals a year come in through our website. It would be impossible for us to follow every one or even follow the ones that we liked or to take that idea and go with it. Again, we're really looking